And Then There Were None, written by Agatha Christie. Chapter 1. We encounter 8 unfamiliar individuals travelling by different means of transportation, all bound for an enigmatic location known as Indian Island. There's Justice Wargrave, a retired judge known for his serious demeanour, Vera Claythorne, a young woman in search of a new beginning, Philip Lombard, a former soldier with a sceptical outlook, and Emily Brent, an uncompromising and critical spinster. Every character was sent an invitation by a certain UN Owen, guaranteeing a tranquil getaway. Chapter 2. Upon their arrival at the opulent mansion on Indian Island, the 8 guests are warmly welcomed by Mr. Rogers, the butler, and his wife, Mrs. Rogers, who are the sole staff members in charge. The guests find themselves in their assigned rooms, each adorned with a unique seashell and a framed copy of a nursery rhyme called 10 Little Soldiers. One of the lines in the rhyme has been curiously marked out. The island's isolation and the absence of Mr. Owen become evident, causing a sense of unease. Chapter 3. As dinner is being served, a gramophone record suddenly begins to play, accusing each guest of a past murder one by one. The guests are taken aback and filled with dread. Mr. Rogers discovered the record in his room, accompanied by instructions to play it. He also has never had the pleasure of meeting Mr. Owen. Justice Wargrave speculates that they may be the targets of a practical joke or a deranged killer. The tension rises as the guests come to the realization that they have been deceived and are now trapped on the island. Chapter 4. The guests are trying to come to terms with the accusations and the potential danger they pose. Vera reveals her previous role as a governess, where she tragically became involved in a fatal accident that resulted in the death of a young boy. Anthony Marston, a playboy with a nonchalant demeanour, ridicules the situation. In the midst of a passionate argument, Marston reaches for his beverage and tragically succumbs to asphyxiation. Dr. Armstrong carefully examines the patient and conclusively determines that the cause of his condition is cyanide poisoning. A sense of unease washes over the guests as they realize they are confined to the island with a dangerous individual. Chapter 5. A sense of unease lingers in the air following Marston's tragic demise. Mr. Blore, a former detective who assumes control, steps forward. He carefully inspects Marston's room and uncovers a concealed compartment containing a notebook that vividly recounts a soldier's harrowing journey in Africa. It is recommended to thoroughly explore the island for potential escape routes or any valuable information that may shed light on the identity of the killer. Meanwhile, Justice Wargrave contemplates the first victim, Anthony Marston, and the crossed-out verse from the nursery rhyme. One choked his little self, and then there were 9. Chapter 6. Mr. Rogers tragically finds his wife, Mrs. Rogers, deceased in their room, apparently due to natural causes. Dr. Armstrong carefully evaluates her condition and diagnoses a heart attack. The guests gather for breakfast, still reeling from the second death. As they patiently await the boat that never seems to appear, a sense of complete isolation washes over them. Chapter 7. The remaining guests strive to uphold a sense of normalcy, yet a lingering atmosphere of suspicion and fear permeates the air. As tensions escalate, accusations are being hurled back and forth. Vera has her suspicions about Lombard, the mercenary, possibly being the killer. Justice Wargrave proposes conducting a trial to reveal the identity of the killer in their midst. Chapter 8. The trial commences. Every guest shares their case, further unveiling their hidden secrets. General MacArthur, a highly esteemed military leader, is facing allegations of being involved in a tragic incident in Africa. Dr. Armstrong, a highly regarded physician, is under suspicion for allegedly administering euthanasia to a patient with a terminal illness. Emily Brent, a devoutly religious individual, is suspected of being responsible for the tragic death of a servant. The trial concludes without a clear resolution, leaving the guests feeling increasingly suspicious. Chapter 9. While perusing the library, Blore stumbles upon a concealed manuscript entitled 10 Little Soldiers. It describes a plot to eliminate 10 individuals on an island, reminiscent of a nursery rhyme. The guests are filled with terror as they come to the shocking realization that they are unwitting participants in a sinister and life-threatening game. The tension escalates to its breaking point as they point fingers and desperately search for an escape. Chapter 10. General MacArthur's lifeless body was discovered at the base of the cliffs. It seems to be a case of suicide, but there are still lingering doubts. The remaining 6 guests are exhausted and on the brink of complete exhaustion. Chapter 11. Vera stumbles upon an unexpected find, intensifying the atmosphere of fear and danger. She shares her suspicions with Lombard, believing that he may be behind the murders. Lombard's surprising revelation of a hidden past as a blackmailer only serves to deepen the already pervasive sense of distrust. Chapter 12. The atmosphere is incredibly tense. Blore suggests a collaboration to ensure our mutual survival. Dr. Armstrong bravely volunteers to venture out to the mainland during a fierce storm, determined to find help. Despite the potential risks, he bravely embarks on a journey in a small boat, leaving the remaining 4 guests behind. Chapter 13. With just 4 guests left, Vera, Lombard, Wargrave and Blore, the air feels heavy and tense. A message mysteriously appears on the mantelpiece with the words, one of us," intensifying the sense of paranoia. Vera considers using the concealed weapon on herself, filled with fear for her safety. Chapter 14. The storm quiets down, leaving behind an unsettling stillness. Dr. Armstrong never returns, leaving the remaining guests to believe he perished at sea. Vera discovers a concealed bottle that holds a message from the alleged UN Owen, unveiling the presence of a murderer among them who intends to strike once more in the near future. Chapter 15. The following morning, Blore is discovered deceased in his room, his life tragically taken by means of a curtain cord. The remaining 3, Vera, Lombard and Wargrave, are feeling quite perplexed, diligently seeking solutions. Chapter 16. Wargrave suggests a toast, proposing that they reveal their innermost secrets in a last-ditch effort to comprehend the killer's motive. Vera shares her previous occupation as a governess, while Wargrave admits to his involvement in the wrongful execution of an innocent man. Lombard maintains his innocence, although he does acknowledge a troubled past. The chapter concludes with a suspenseful twist, as an undisclosed gramophone record begins to play. Chapter 17. The story progresses to a later point in time. Upon stumbling upon the island, Fred Narracott, a sailor, makes a chilling discovery. All 10 guests have met their demise. The deaths seem to be suicides or accidents, resembling the remaining verses of the nursery rhyme. Blore was strangled, Armstrong was lost at sea, Marston was poisoned, Mrs. Rogers passed away in her sleep, General MacArthur fell from the cliffs, and the last 3 individuals appeared to have poisoned themselves. Chapter 18. Epilogue. The identity of the true killer is finally unveiled. From a concealed recording left by the perpetrator, it is revealed that the one responsible is none other than Justice Wargrave. He meticulously planned the entire event, fueled by a distorted sense of justice, aiming to hold each guest accountable for their previous wrongdoings. Wargrave, who is facing a terminal illness, tragically ends his own life by resorting to a final act of poisoning. This grim act not only concludes the series of murders, but also brings to life the haunting nursery rhyme. General analysis. The suspense in Agatha Christie's novel is expertly crafted, leaving readers in constant anticipation of the killer's identity and motive until the final twist. Every chapter explores the characters' backgrounds and reveals their hidden secrets, weaving a tapestry of doubt and unease. The fear intensifies as the guests find themselves trapped on the isolated island with a murderer. The nursery rhyme, 10 Little Soldiers, takes on a haunting tone as it foreshadows the impending deaths. We recommend this book. You can read it at the link in the description below. Bye for now.